Fight fans, are back. Carl Perza MMA. We got a familiar face to the channel back on today. He's getting ready, making his PFL return next weekend. He is Mr. Biaggio Ali Walsh. Biaggio, what's up, my friend? How are you?
How you doing? Thank you for having me.
Absolutely, man. Last time out earlier in April, one of your best performances yet. Amazing first round knockout. Did quick work, picking up a big finish within the first minute. What was that like going back to Chicago, righting the wrong from last year and picking up a big victory?
Oh, it meant a lot, going to Chicago. I wanted to get that win back, because my first professional loss was out there uh, the year prior. So, yeah, it was nice. Um, a lot quicker than I expected. I always expect the fight to go 3 rounds, but it was a lot quicker than I expected. I must have hit him just in the perfect spot at the perfect time, and it hurt him really bad. So, yeah, it was really good to get the victory and celebrate with my family. It was really nice.
You're staying pretty active here in 2026, taking another fight only 3 months from the last one. Do you like staying active like this?
Yes, absolutely. Staying active for me allows me to get more experience, and that's the my main focus right now is getting more and more and more experience and just leveling up. The more times you step into that cage, the more times you make the weight, the more experience you get. So yeah, I'm super happy to be active and that the PFL picked up another fight for me. So I'm super excited.
Absolutely. Last year, obviously, you've experienced your first loss in that Robbie Gibbs fight. Since then, 2-fight win streak, looking really, really good. What were some of the big takeaways from that first defeat?
Um, you know, th- I feel like one of the biggest takeaways for me was like trying to control the outcome, hunting for a knockout. I feel like that made me fatigued in the second round because the first round I was piecing him up. I made him leave his feet. Like it was a whole dominating first round. So but I felt myself like hunting the knockout or like hunting the outcome and like trying to force a win. And what that did to me is going into the second round, I made my legs feel like they were concrete blocks. Like they felt super heavy. I felt super fatigued. And when he had taken me down in my head, I was kind of like, okay, I know how to get up from here. But then, I'm bottom, 12 to 6 elbows are coming at me. I'm like, okay, I got to get up. You make a small mistake of reaching over, he catches you in an arm triangle. So that's how the sport works, right? You make one small mistake and it can cost a fight. So for me, that was the biggest takeaway was just stay patient, don't try to force the outcome, let things happen the way they're supposed to happen, just go in there and fight and do your thing, be yourself. So that was for me the biggest takeaway.
Do you think that fighting is more mental than is physical?
Absolutely. I was just talking about this with my mom today. It's 90% mental, I believe.
Absolutely. Obviously, you come from your last name, grandfather, one of the greatest to ever do it in all of combat sports. Your brother Nico involved in it as well. Obviously, your parents have been involved in combat sports too. What's it like for this to be so family centric for you?
I love it. I come from a boxing family. My aunt also fought as well. And um, yeah, I've always been a fight fan my whole life. It was mostly boxing growing up. MMA. I didn't really get into MMA until like Chuck Liddell and Randy Couture were like the two biggest stars. That's kind of when I started like, okay, wow, like this is a different kind of fighting. So yeah, I was always a boxing head growing up, and we'd always have fight nights and have friends and family come over, and um, yeah, it's nice, I'm probably or I am the only one in my family that's going into MMA, and I feel like it kind of just fell into my lap, when I was done with college football. That's kind of when MMA started to fall into my lap. I was going to the gym and it was the only thing I was looking forward to. I was out in the real world getting real jobs and I didn't know what to do with my life, and the only thing I looked forward to was coming to Extreme Couture and to train. So that's kind of when I said, you know what, like I don't care what happens. I want to see how far I can take this sport. Like how far can I get if I just stay on the right track and stay disciplined and stay consistent in the gym and try to get better and better. That's my ultimate goal in the sport, really, is I want to see how far I can go. And however far I go is that's what it was meant. That like that's where I was supposed to be. And I feel like I'm supposed to be where I am right now. So Um, yeah, it's a blessed feeling, you know, coming from a background of fighters as well, and who knows if the legacy continues, you know, if I when I have kids or my brother has kids and stuff. So yeah, it's a blessing.
When you were playing football in college, if someone told you that you'd end up going to MMA, be in the PFL, be a 4-1 top prospect, would have you believed them?
Not at all. Not at all. Not even a little bit. I would have told them, okay, what's what are you smoking? So yeah, it's weird. I never thought that I would fight. You know, I just started getting better in the gym, and I told myself like, screw it. Like you only have one life. You know, I would rather take that leap of faith and take those chances to see how far I can get in this sport than to be 40 years old and think, well, what if I like really like took it serious? Like, would I have been good? You know, I don't want to have those kind of thoughts because you only have one life. You can't go back in time, you know. So that's kind of what keeps me driven and what keeps my fire going is the fear of regret, really.
You know, another thing that I think is pretty cool. You played high school football, Bishop Gorman in Nevada, one of the biggest high schools in the area for football. One of your teammates, Nico Fertitta, his
Hmm.
dad, Lorenzo Fertitta, obviously
Hmm.
a former owner of the UFC. So at that
Hmm.
time frame, there was like no talks, nothing of this.
Not at all. you know, me and Nico, we played football together. That was our thing. You know, we played football. Um, you know, Lorenzo obviously was, you know, with the UFC and everything. And yeah, it was never a thought. It's kind of weird. Like when you look back at it now, it's kind of like a no-brainer, right? Like it's almost like God was throwing little hints and little signs of a sport that you would eventually end up. And you don't know that at the time. You only know later, which is now. So, yeah, it's actually I love irony in life like that, right? Like when there's little things that hint to your future, almost like a foreshadowing. So, yeah, it's really cool that that was even brought up. Yeah, like that's something I think about sometimes.
You know, the PFL this year making some changes, going away from that tournament format. Now you have rankings. They're starting to get belts involved. What do you think of the product this year as a whole?
I think it's great. I think the PFL is doing all good things. You know, it's I feel like they've also made it easier for like the common fans to understand with the ranking system and how that goes. Um, you know, sometimes with the tournament, and I love the tournament, but for the casual MMA fan, it might be a little confusing with the point system and stuff. So I think that them steering away from that and kind of going to like the main knowledge of the general public is a very smart move business wise. And I think they're just doing everything good. You know, they constantly and they constantly what's the word impress me with what the stuff that they do. You know, they're doing stuff outside of the country, and it's amazing.
Absolutely. You know, it's kind of crazy to look at martial arts in the United States, you know, really only relevant here for about 30 years. And of that, I think it's only been
Yeah.
culturally accepted for maybe 15 to 20 on a big stage.
Hmm.
20, 25 years ago, if you told someone you fought anywhere else than the UFC, they're kind of looking at you like you're crazy. Now we have
Hmm.
different options. You have different promotions. Guys are getting
Hmm.
paid more money than ever now. For
Hmm.
you, do you think the promotions like the PFL is just a testament that you can do this? You can make a living without fighting in the UFC.
Absolutely, and I think that they always continue to improve to show that. You know, there's look for me, I the PFL believed in me before I even believed in myself. You know, I lost my first amateur fight, and that's when we first heard from the PFL is we want to sign because they my dad was at a boxing event and he got a card from the PFL. And he thought that they wanted to talk about Nico, you know, who was already boxing and established himself as a pro boxer, but they wanted to talk about me. And then that's kind of when I was like, what? Like I literally just lost my first amateur fight. Like and then they reached out to me and they before um before I announced it, I had one more fight, one more amateur fight, and that was my first amateur win. And then after that win was when I first announced that I was signed with the PFL as an amateur. So The PFL is a great company. They always improve, and they believed in me when I didn't even like believe in myself. Like I was even hesitant to sign with them because I thought it was like too fast, But given the name and given the potential that they saw in me, it does make sense.
Obviously you live in Las Vegas, a lot of great places to train there. You train at Extreme Couture, one of the best gyms in the world. Obviously, so many great fighters there. You got Sean Strickland there, Eric Nisick, the whole roster. What's it like training with those guys on a day in and day out basis?
Oh, it's amazing. I have the best training partners. I Everybody's so welcoming and it's literally a family. Extreme Couture is my family. I've been there now for 6 years, and it's crazy. Like you'll see big names come in at any day, and you'll get sparring rounds with these names. When Justin Gagey came in the gym, like I was like, can we please get around? Like I'm a huge fan, So and he was hella cool, and it was just at Extreme Couture, like you never know who will come in on a Tuesday, and just getting that kind of experience with so many elite level and high level guys is priceless, really. I mean, some gyms, in the country, don't even get that. You don't get that. The best guy in that gym will be like a regional star. So to be in Vegas and be training at Extreme Couture is a huge blessing, and I wouldn't want to be anywhere else.
So when you make your return to the PFL, you're taking on a 4-0 undefeated guy in Gamid Khizriev. Overall, what do you think of him as an opponent here?
I think he's a great opponent. He's a good challenge for me. We have a lot of mutual friends where we train it with each other and whatnot. Yeah, I think he's game. I think it's a great challenge, and that's what I want in the sport. Is I want to see where I'm at. I want to get better and better, and the only way to really get better is to go against better guys, better and better and better. And so, yeah, I'm super excited. It's a great challenge for me. Um, I'm super excited. It's gonna be a good fight, God willing, and yeah, if I go in there and have fun and be loose, I pray I come out victorious.
When you look at both of your guys' records and you watch the tape, both of you guys are fun fighters. You like to go out there, your styles bring finishes. You think this
Mhm.
could be nothing but fireworks when both of you guys go at it?
I think so. I think, with the pressure on him, having his first PFL fight, the pressure on me being a really good challenge for me and stylistically wise. He's a big wrestler and grappler, and I'm a stand-up guy. I like to freaking stand and bang. So I think stylistically it's a great matchup. I think that alone brings fireworks, and every fight I'm always looking to finish, and he's always looking to finish too. So there will be a finish for sure.
Absolutely. With you've shown it throughout your whole career. You fight tough fights. Sometimes a guy has your popularity. Maybe promotions want to protect them and try to, feed their way to the top a little bit. You're a type of guy, I don't think since you've turned pro, you've taken an easy fight. Here you are taking on another guy's 4-0, really tough customer. How much pride do you take in fighting tough guys like this?
A lot, for me it's like, okay, next guy, okay, let's go, let's run it, so I feel like that having that kind of mindset, it helps a lot. I feel like in this kind of sport you want challenges. You don't want easy picks or easy fights, and that's what a fight is, right? A fight is being able to fight through adversity, and being able to fight through tough challenges. So I'm super excited. It's a great challenge for me and him as well. I knock people out, so um I think it's a great matchup, and I'm super excited. I'm excited to eat after too.
So you're going to go this one in Texas. Texas,
Mhm.
obviously known for like their barbecue. Have you been thinking of maybe
Yes.
a good post-fight meal?
Yeah, I mean, I heard that it was called something Blacks, Texas Blacks, something like that. But I heard of this one place. I forgot I literally was told it today, but I sparred today. Maybe I have CT or something. But yeah, there was a place that one of our coaches had mentioned, so I'm definitely gonna go
Is it
there
the
after the
original
fight.
Black's barbecue?
Yes, that's it. That's it. I heard excellent things about that place, and I'm
I got
going.
There you go. The life of a professional fighter, it's a roller coaster. You've experienced great high moments, you've experienced some low moments. But
Mhm.
for you, how do you think you have grown and evolved from being part of this journey?
I think I've grown at a pretty good rate. You know, I stay very consistent in the gym. Even after my last fight in Chicago, I was back in the gym on Monday. You know, and I feel like in order to see real growth, you have to be consistent, and that's in anything you do. You know, whether it's working an office job or working blue collar or you're a welder or something like that. Like if you stay consistent in what you're doing, you're gonna get better, and that's I think that is where you see the growth. And I've seen growth in myself as a fighter with my fighter IQ and just everything. The whole package is what I'm trying to improve in the sport. So I think I'm getting better and better at a good rate. And to even get better is to get that experience and keep fighting and fighting and fighting.
Another claim to fame that you have, in my opinion, I think you have the coolest godfather of any fighter in the world in Flavor Flav. What's he
Slave,
been up
man.
to lately? Is he come over to the fight?
Dude, I don't think he can make it this fight, but he is amazing. He's always been so supportive of me and my brother both. When Nico first started boxing, he's the reason Nico even started boxing. Nico showed Flav an old video of him on the street with some kid who wanted to box him, and he hit him to the liver. And Flav's like, "You should start boxing," and then he started boxing. And every football game I had, he came. He showed so much support, and he still shows support in the sport that I'm in now. So he's amazing. I don't think he's gonna make this fight, but he's been super busy lately. He's been all caught up with the women's sports and stuff, and being a huge sponsor, and he's all over the media right now. So he's a busy guy.
This day and age, MMA is so popular. It's all over the internet, it's all over television. Almost everyone knows what martial arts is in this day and age.
Mhm.
For you, obviously, social media is such a big thing now. Since you've been in the PFL, have there been any maybe comments about yourself from the casuals, memes, posts about yourself that made you kind of laugh or like make you go, what the heck, or anything like that?
Oh, absolutely. I was getting a lot of them. When I see the supporting comments, I get happy. But a lot of them I've seen it are really like hateful. And I've kind of had that since I was a little kid. And I feel like a lot of that has to do with who I'm related to. But like, I didn't choose to be Ali's grandson. I didn't choose to be good at football. So, like, you know, I- it, the internet is so funny and it gets funnier as the years go on. People get more creative with the memes. And to me, like, I would say I have a pretty good sense of humor. Every time, if I see something funny enough, it's funny. Like, what's funny is funny. You can't discourage that or discredit it. So, yeah, it's always fun sometimes going on YouTube and then reading the comments.
For you, what's the ultimate goal? What are you looking to do in this career?
My ultimate goal is to get better and better, and I think my main focus really is that I want to be an exciting fighter. I want to be a guy that, if you see me on the card, you're gonna want to tune in. And it's not just because of the name, but because of my style of fighting. I want my style to be something that draws a lot of eyes. Obviously, in this career, we want to win. That's something I'm always looking to do is to come out with a win. But at the end of the day, I feel like the most remembered fighters are the ones that are the most exciting guys to see. You got Nate Diaz, you got Justin Gaethje, you got so many exciting Jose Aldo, McGregor. Like there's so many exciting guys, and I feel like that sticks with the fans more than winning or losing or being a champion or not. So, you know, Dustin Poirier was an interim champ, but he was never really the champ, and everybody loves him, because of his style of fighting and who he is as a person. So, you know, that's like my main goal is to be like a Dustin Poirier or like a Jose Aldo or any of those guys that you would consider an exciting fighter. That's who I want to be like.
That 155 division that you're in has really proved to be one of the best divisions in the entire sport. When you look at the PFL roster, the UFC roster, nothing but straight killers at 155. Does it
Mhm.
excite you knowing that you're fighting the best of the best?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think 155 is a great division. I used my first amateur fight was at welterweight, and I cut 6 pounds, and my opponent cut like 25. And I'm like, okay, maybe I go down a weight class because you guys are big up here. So I think it's a great weight class. I think there's a lot of good competition in that. And um, I'm going to stay at 155 for as long as I can. I think later in my career, towards the end, when I, get a little older, I might move up to welterweight or something. But I'm at 55 for probably the next 6 years.
Absolutely. Obviously your grandfather's known for so many famous quotes, so many lines. Do you have a favorite quote that he's ever said?
Actually, my favorite quote is tattooed on my arm right here. It says, "I hated every minute of training, but I said, don't quit, suffer now, and live the rest of your life as a champion." That's something, that's my favorite quote by him. Training sucks, but, don't quit, suffer now, and you'll get the return later on.
Absolutely. All right, Biaggio, last question for me, my friend. In a perfect world, what is the outcome July 18th when you return to the PFL, when you take on Gamid Khizriev?
In a perfect world, it's a finish. It's a knockout. Anytime I'm asked that question, it's going to get the same response. The perfect world is a knockout and a devastating finish.
Absolutely. And some good barbecue after the fight.
Oh, yes. And some cornbread.
There you go. Well, fight fans, that's it for us today. Biaggio, thank you so much, brother. Always a pleasure talking with you. Can't wait to see you back in action, man.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Absolutely. That's the press. Damn, Carl Prizzi is Mr. Biaggio Ali Walsh. You can watch him July 18th, Texas, taking on Gamid Khizriev. Double League fight fans, it's going to be a fun one. Take care.